Hello and welcome to my tutorial on every Wesker tag that I know of. I hope you enjoy. Okay, so the first tag we have is urobend, which is basically when you turn either left or right with your dash. It's very simple and you will get that instantly, and it is very much used for throwing survivors in the direction you want to throw them. This is the most simple tech for Wesker there is. Moving on. So the next tech we have is Skybert, and that is basically if you line yourself up like this, you should fly off this roof. Let's try it. See that I kinda did fly off the roof. On some maps, in some spots, it is better, arguably, but this is everything there is to Skybird, in my opinion. Moving on. So the next tech we have is called rebound. It is basically you hold your power and you bump into this object and you hold either D or A depending on where you want to go. So if I wanted to go to left, I would hold A while bumping into this. See? There are better spots for this, but I would say that the basics are usable on almost every map. So you basically just bounce off this and you get to a better position to bound if there was a pallet here. Moving on. This tech is called wall slides, and for that you should use your second dash, and I also recommend using wall key since you get a lot of distance with it, and you basically do it like this. The important thing to note here is that you should be just standing like this. You need one wall and then the second wall you slide off, and then it's gonna look like this. That is all there is to wall slides basically. Moving on. Next tech we have is blinded pallet sliding. It basically works like this. You slide off this pallet while it's being dropped and you go there. Let me show you that. Like this. That is all there is to this tech. You just gotta time it right and don't fuck it up. Like this. You just don't wanna do it like this. You don't wanna be too late. The more early the better. Moving on. So the next tech we have is hugtech. And for this one I'm gonna go more in depth. You see when I can like bound and when I stop getting the option to bound, you optimally wanna go like this and hugtech. And you do that by finding the exact corner where it doesn't let you anymore, and you wanna click right before that. Happening here is that I'm using my momentum from holding the other key. I'm using the momentum with holding my D key to basically hugtech around the object. One more thing to note if you're gonna learn this tech is that if you keep going forward, if I do like this, if I go forward like this, you are pressing it too early, and if you click and nothing happens, that is when you're too far and you're already past the timing. So the ideal timing would look like this. Moving on. So the other part of our tutorial is rebound instas, which is basically going like this and then hugging this part of the object. It is more difficult than normal hugtechs, but I would say it's still easier than insta hugtechs. Bounce off this, hug that, and there you go. So let's watch this in a slow motion. You bounce off here, you hugtech here, and that is all there is to this tech. Moving on. Next thing we have is Bluetooth hugtech, which is basically the same thing as rebound insta. And it is pretty difficult. Yeah, so this is a Bluetooth hug. Again, let's watch this in slow motion. You bound here, hug here, and as you can see, that is again all there is to it. Moving on. Next tech we are gonna go through is insta. It is basically the same thing as hugtech, but it is instant. I would recommend using Volky. It makes the timing much easier, but if you have base kit, you basically fully charge up like this and then go further. I would recommend counting to 2 or 3. Most likely you are gonna hit that timing. You gotta learn the timing more manually. But if you have Volky, which I really recommend using for this, because you go further with your second bound, you basically volk back up, and when you fully charge, go forward, and insta hugtech. Don't worry if you don't hit it on your first tries. It is all about practice, but yeah. One more thing to note about insta hugtech, in my personal recommendation, is use the mouse icon if you want to go from the left and hug it like this. If you're gonna hug it like this, you use the letter D, the end of the text, and again you go like this. That is all there is to insta hugtech. It just takes practice. Moving on. Next tech I would consider expert level, and that is insta Bluetooths. So basically, and don't worry if you fuck it up, because I do too fuck it up sometimes, but you basically walk up away from the object, try to be in a straight line with the object, then you go like this to the side, then you bound like this, and you saw me like connect to it, but I was looking a little too poorly. I angled myself a little too poorly, so I kind of flopped around here. But the tech is basically like this. Yeah, and I'm gonna fuck it up. It happens to the best of us. Here's a better example of an insta Bluetooth. Moving on. So the next tech I'm gonna show you is called zeyyn tech, after the guy who invented this tech, and it is basically rebounding here, and you wanna either hug or Bluetooth if you overshoot it this other side of the car, and it should look something like this. Well, unless you miss it. It is gonna happen a lot. It really depends. It is another expert level tech, and personally I don't really practice this one a lot, but it should look something like that. Okay, moving on, we have reverse insta hugtech, and yeah, this tech can be pretty difficult if you can't flick well. It really depends. So ideally you want to position yourself like this and go pretty fucking far. Yeah. Now you have to combine your insta-flick skills with this, and ideally it will look like this. But I can't guarantee you can do this fast. It will take a lot of practice, which I also don't really have, but yeah, it should look something like that. So this is the end of the video. I hope you find this guide helpful, and I'll see you in the next one, which is probably gonna be a montage. Until then, see ya.